Round one of the Isuzu UTE A-League continues on a perfect day at Wonderland. CommBank Stadium looking an absolute picture as the Western Sydney Wanderers host the defending champions, Melbourne City. Western Sydney Wanderers have never beaten City here at this venue. In fact, it is all the way back to 2019 that they last beat Melbourne City at home. There would be no better way to mark their card as contenders than to win this afternoon. The Isuzu UTE tunnel cam is showing us handshakes between Lawrence Thomas and Aziz Bayic. Thomas about to lead out the Wanderers, and of course Aziz Bayic, who found goal-scoring form as Melbourne City stormed through finals to lift the trophy, and he of course carried that into the Socceroos as well in what was a stunning end to the last campaign. But everyone starts back at the base of the mountain and has to climb it all over again. Melbourne City never satisfied with the trophies in their cabinet, and they have loaded up again a mix of youth and experience and some new foreign imports ready to take on this challenge. Surface in good condition. You can see the win probability there. The Boffins certainly like Western Sydney Wanderers. Perhaps they are unaware that Wanderers are winless in their last 6 at home against Melbourne City, who do enjoy the travel here to the west of Sydney. Both teams wearing their home kits. Let's take a look at the home side. Western Sydney Wanderers bring 3 players into the lineup eliminated from the Australia Cup in August. Brandon Borrello, Aidan Simmons and Angus Thurgate, second place in the Johnny Warren medal last season, are those 3. Potential debutant Awan Luwal sits on the bench. Alan Stajic, not a huge amount of rotation from his pre-season lineup and very close to his strongest available 11. Melbourne City, by contrast, 2 big ins, Takeshi Kanamori and also Elbasan Rashani, the 2 off-season imports. Samuel Suprayen also returns from the side that played in the grand final for Aurelio Vidmar's team, and a young bench. Beckham Baker could be in line to make his A-League debut, as is Harry Shillington. Alan Stajic and his assistant Nahuel Arate, they have been the brains trust at Wanderers for a couple of seasons now, and they are hoping to take that next step after getting into finals last season but falling at the hands of Melbourne Victory. And the title-winning coach Aurelio Vidmar in the hot seat at Melbourne City, but he's very much made it his own, and he's certainly shown no fear of blooding youth and giving them opportunity to break into his Melbourne City side. Today's referee is Alex King. You can see the coin toss taking place at the moment with his assistants Matthew McGorrist and Brad Wright watching on, and fourth official is Nathan Shakespeare. In the VAR booth today, Kearney Robinson has the tools at his disposal, and Sean Evans is his assistant should we require. Wanderers on that winning run into the finals last season, really re-engaged with their fan base. The RBB is always key to that, and they will be full of noise and colour on this season opener, and hoping they can get closer to filling CommBank Stadium and making Wonderland a special place as the season goes on. Nothing would get the word out like knocking off the defending champions in the very first game of the campaign. Stephen Ugarkovic making his second Western Sydney Wanderers debut. He was at the club from 2020 to 22, making 32 appearances, but he started in last season's grand final for Melbourne City, so he's wasted no time reacquainting himself with his past employers. No doubt plenty of IP would have been shared. And there is Elbasan Rashani, 29 caps for the Kosovo national team. He was a Norway youth international before getting the opportunity to switch to the nation of his heritage. He's vastly experienced as well in Europe. He comes from the second division in Spain most recently, before arriving here in the A-League. Lawrence Thomas, a picture of calm as Melbourne City kick us off. It's the 3rd game of the campaign. Round 1 continues in the Isuzu UTE A-League men's. We're underway at CommBank Stadium for Western Sydney Wanderers against Melbourne City. And as Greyskill former Matilda joins me, a championship defence starts right here with a fascinating clash.
Afternoon, Teo. It's great to be back. And we've already seen a couple of entertaining matches to launch into season 21 of the A-League this afternoon, poised for more of the same. Western Sydney at home, fair to say a few changes in the off-season and some good recruitment as well up against Melbourne City, who are full to the brim of quality, young and old. Really interesting fixture ahead of us this afternoon.
Sydney defence through German Ferreira and their goalkeeper Patrick Beach getting a feel for the ball. Brave to play out from the back under the press from the Western Sydney Wanderers, trying to force a mistake. Maybe they have. Angus Thurgate takes over and Josh Brillante quick to turn. Borrello with a layoff. Silky smooth from the Wanderers, and he puts it just wide after the return ball from Ugarkovic was so nice and sets up a shot in the opening minute.
Well, that's sharp from Western Sydney. Really strong start. And unsurprisingly, Thurgate involved in the build-up. In his new side, Borrello keen to get a strike away. Some menacing signs in the opening passage from the home side.
You can't blame him for being eager to score. He only netted once in his final 17 games of last season. Had 6 for the total campaign out of 26, but it was a very front-ended season as far as goal-scoring concerns. And Brandon Borrello, like many in the Isuzu UTE A-League, hoping that his best form can get him into Tony Popovic's World Cup squad. The Socceroos, of course, already qualified for that tournament, and it's going to be a great showcase for players young and old to make their claim for a potential ticket to that World Cup.
Well, every year we see a couple of players step up. They make themselves notice, they make the national team pay attention. And every opportunity that presents, starting with this opening fixture for Western Sydney at home.
Clearance there from Andy Quinn. Anthony Panazopoulos, never afraid to put his body in the road. Here he is on the ball. Lawrence Thomas right down on his own goal line. Alex Bonatig with a long clearance. Straight into the head of Ferreira. Now Samuel Sutrayen. Patrick Beach. See Borrello sliding in with enthusiasm, but Beach cleared in the nick of time. City fans with long memories will no doubt recall him being caught in possession in the first Melbourne derby of last season when he was trying to play a clearance, hoping for it to deflect straight into the net. But Melbourne City are committed to a certain style of playing out from the back, and Beach is there to begin with because 99% of the time he can get it spot on. See, the goalkeeper's roamed out of his penalty area here to be another option, but Samuel Suprayen is currently looking further afield. Kai Trewin is his answer. Trewin over to Atkinson. Atkinson looking to speed up the attack, trying to force a through ball, couldn't find Max Caputo. Over on the wing, Kanamori. Able to influential touch there. Takeshi Kanamori, though, 230 J-League games before coming to Australia. And look at that, the scenes we want to see. Western Sydney Wanderers, red and black block, enjoying the beginning of a new campaign. Trewin, clever in midfield. Caputo linking up and now sweeping out to the right. Here is Kanamori. Cross is at catching height for Lawrence Thomas, but City moved at pace. The counter-attack might be on here. Borrello, he's chasing a lost cause on this occasion, but Beach, this is Atkinson with the pass.
We can see the idea clearly there. Western Sydney looking to spring a quick counter-attack. Beach had to be off his line. Borrello, the moment the ball was in the hands of Lawrence Thomas, who was looking for the run, and Suprayen just trying to marshal him, keeping him quiet, and keep a close eye on that battle.
This pass from Brillante has led to this opportunity for City, but the intercept made by Panazopoulos, and so Wanderers now back on the ball. Ugarkovic. Despite the best efforts of Rashani, hasn't found a way out for a Wanderers throw.
Still a readjustment to see Stephen Ugarkovic back in the Western Sydney shirt, finishing up last year's champions in the light blue of Melbourne City. It's that experience recruitment we've seen in this Ali Stajic side. Garkovic, Barbarousis, Thurgate, a young player, Thurgate, but strength to strength we've seen him go in recent seasons at Western United.
Barbarousis was outpointed in the air by Ferreira, as was Borrello by Suprayen. So Melbourne City have the ball. And this is Rashani showing us what he can do to Andy Quinn, second season in City Blue, but he's not able to get the better of Brillante there. Melbourne City made a point of announcing today that this is the only time this season they'll be wearing their home shirt with the black shorts in order to avoid a kit clash today. So I guess what I'm saying to City fans is don't fall in love with it, because this will be the only time you see this combo during the season. Aurelio Vidmar not shouting too many instructions just yet. 6 minutes into the new campaign. Quinn back to Suprayen. Look how far Beach is out of his line. There's total confidence in the centre-backs at the moment. As is Bajic. Looks for a longer pass. Simmons with the intercept. Thurgate. Božidar Krajev, body check in midfield, and he draws a foul.
It was a difficult space to operate in there for Krajev. The first touch good, but just too much traffic around him. The contact coming in heavily.
Pantasopoulos with a long ball. Safely steered back to the goalkeeper. Team, most recently selected Pantasopoulos, so he'll be hoping to find a way through Olympic qualifiers with Australia, should his form merit ongoing selection.
Last season, Anthony Pantasopoulos would suggest he would do exactly that, understanding he had offers to leave the A-League, has chosen to stay. It was excellent last campaign.
Elbasan Rashani. Now Kai Trewin, space to dictate. Decides the right flank is the answer. Kanamori from the edge of the box. Doesn't fancy a shot. Trewin does. Blocked immediately. And away comes Simmons with possession. Wanderers, can they strike on the counter? Barbarousis to Krajev, working through the gears. Western Sydney. Now Brandon Borrello takes possession and shoots straight into Ferreira. See the play unfolding before the eyes there. Wanderers very well trained and very quick in transition, but didn't have a killer blow at the end of it on that occasion.
You can see the intent, the quick break, the speed at which Wanderers try to move when they do regain possession. On that last occasion, Borrello peeled off the shoulder of his defender really well, just didn't quite have the pass to find, or the shot rather, find the run of Barbarousis. Now it's Western Sydney's turn to possess the ball in the back and look for a solution playing through Melbourne City. It's Thomas not quite as bold as Patrick Beach at the other end to venture out of his penalty area. Here in a game of cat and mouse against Max Caputo, and he backs his burst of acceleration to get away. Garkovic, and now there's an outlet pass. Simmons is the answer, and forward go the Wanderers. Hayden Simmons allowed to drive. Now he's got to Garkovic, first time ball. Borrello on the spin, and for the second time in quick succession, it's Ferreira making a block. The through ball here, Barbarousis! What an introduction to the Wonderland
It's taken 10 minutes for the red and black to strike first in 25-26. And the Kiwi, with more than 100 A-League goals to his name, continues to do what he does best.
Well, Costa Barbarouses on the Harvey Norman replay has picked up exactly where he left off. And it's brilliant play by the Western Sydney Wanderers. Good movement, good patience. The ball in, needed a little bit of innovation about it. But Barbarouses, he's got that instinct. And he's got that ability just to pick out a spot. That's a really clever run. Overcommitted the Melbourne City defence, and he found a little gap, took it. A little toe poke through, but he won't mind. Costa Barbarouses opening his account for A-League season 21.
Deft finish, and off the back of double figures last season. Costa Barbarouses back on the mainland in Australia. 104 career goals and looking as sharp as ever. And the Western Sydney Wanderers, when they signed him in the off-season, there were a few eyebrows raised mainly due to his 35 years of age, but he shows no signs of slowing down just yet.
Well, impressive. And he's smart with his movement. And as the years tick by, you have to be really intelligent about when to press, when to hold. And although he's a journeyman, he's played across a lot of A-League clubs, that first goal for your new club, returning to a club, is so important.
A long ball here, City looking for the answer. Caputo! Parody did not last long, and Max Caputo puts his flag in the ground. And this young striking talent has Melbourne City level in a matter of seconds. Only 20 years of age, Max Caputo, and he has levelled this one up.
Well, the Harvey Norman replay, again, once more shows a really well-timed run in over the top from Max Caputo. And where Western Sydney posed the question, Max Caputo has a really clear answer. That's a well-taken finish. Lawrence Thomas gets a fingertip to it. Can't do quite enough, but a talented young player with an equally good finish at the other end silences the Western Sydney fans.
Well, don't update the copybook just yet. VAR is checking for a possible offside. On the initial viewings of the replays, Grace, what's your gut feel?
Well, it looked on first account to be a really well-timed run. And we'll get a look, but he might have just leaned in yet into that position in between the centre-backs.
Goal given, and City are level. Max Caputo, with his 8th career goal, he scored 5 in 15 last season. And isn't it funny, Grace? Pre-game we were discussing, stay with the City attack here because it might be a 3rd goal in quick succession, not to be. We were discussing who's going to be the next Adrian Segicic, who's going to be the next Zach Sapsford, who has a breakout season, and well, Max Caputo has put his name forward.
Last year when City were ravaged with injuries, lots of players unavailable for extended periods of time, Max Caputo started toiling away. He's a great stature for a striker. He's a big, strong man, and at only 20 years old, a really bright future ahead of him.
City with a bit of momentum behind them. Might be on again here. Vital from Bonatig. Looked over the shoulder by Caputo. Now Kanamori. He's looked dangerous at times on that right wing. Waiting for runners, and now steers it back. Matthew Leckie, he hasn't had his say just yet. Atkinson made a good run into the box, and Brillante able to clear.
Not even 15 minutes in, and the game really opened up just in the last couple. Started with high intensity, good energy.
Perhaps getting a good idea of why the centre-backs for both teams were happy to spend a bit of time on the ball steadying in the first 10 minutes, because as soon as the game gets a bit of life and speed to it, it's end-to-end, and everyone's chasing shadows out there at the moment. Thurgates. Barbarouses didn't have nearly enough time to enjoy putting Wanderers in front. Bonatic. Touch inside from Garkovic, a battle for possession. Barbarouses prevails, Kraev. Little flick from Borello was nice, and now Thurgates. Wanderers steady. Reset, Brillante. Thurgate taking possession. We've had the stopwatch on how long Wanderers' lead lasted, 1 minute and 57 seconds. So City showing their resilience. Certainly not deterred at falling behind. Ferreira. Suprayan, as Wanderers are happy to stand and watch this unfold in front of them with the centre-backs.
And it is a slightly different approach. Wanderers sitting in that 4-4-2 block as City look to find a way through, do so cleverly here.
Really nice pass from Truan. Rashani whips in a ball, and a little bit awkward. Headed behind for a corner by Gersbach at the far post.
That's a nice cross from Rashani. Quality on the delivery. Watch the shape of this pass. Really tough to defend against when you're facing your own goal and the ball just sneaks between that line.
Lots of chat going on inside the defensive penalty area. Lawrence Thomas organising his defence. Fans behind the goal have already seen one City strike hit that net. They don't want another one here. Big pack of players to aim for. And it's Aziz Bayic to take the corner. Pantasopoulos rises high. Lecky. This was a little firmly struck for Kanamori. And it's worked out to be a Wanderers throw-in. And it gives us the chance to throw it down to the pitch level, and enjoying the first 17 minutes as we all have has been Daniel Garb. Garby, hello.
Most certainly, and the RBB still well and truly in full voice despite that City equaliser. They unveiled the TIFO as the game started, which sent a pretty stern message. It said one club, one goal, create history. That history, of course, is a first championship that they crave at this football club, and they feel is within their reach this season because of new signings like Costa Barbarouses and Steven Agarkovic. Of course, Barbarouses with that goal, he's still got designs on making the New Zealand World Cup squad, so that's extra motivation for him. And Agarkovic, interesting watching him. He's lining up as an advanced right-sided midfielder. Not a position we've seen it in usually, but it's where he's being deployed at the moment.
Thank you, Garby. We'll keep checking in as the game goes on. Right now, City the edge of the attacking third. Wanderers packed in behind the ball. And Kanamori with a loose touch, which gets Wanderers off the hook. But he has shown a little bit so far on that right wing, Takeshi Kanamori, that he's going to be potentially a speedy winger for defences to have to deal with. Speaking of speed, here goes Barbarouses. The Pistons are pumping. Was he fouled? The referee had a bird's eye view and decided against. In comes Thurgate with force. And Melbourne City do retain possession.
It's a physical encounter that. Barbarouses, Lecky, two strong players, incredibly strong on the ball. We saw that play out. That will be an interesting battle. We'll watch that unfold.
Suprayan. Quinn pleading for a pass in midfield, but decided it was a bit too busy. So City looking for a bit of breathing room. Kanamori doesn't even turn and face. It goes back to Ferreira. Beach sold Truant into a bit of bother, and so Thurgate and Ugarkovic take over. The first thought is to go backwards. Brillante, Sydney reset. Way back to Lawrence Thomas, so slightly nervous moment for Patrick Beach, but all Sydney did was give away the ball, nothing worse. Simmons, control hard against the sideline, still got two opponents to deal with. And Truant wins the ball back for City. As is Bayich, allowed to drift forward. The flick was really good from Quen. Bayich nearly set through. Flamboyant, exaggerated little backheel flick there from Andy Quen, but he made it work.
And the willingness of Bayich to receive the return pass. Just a slight difference in approach here. We see City started a bit higher, not allowing Western Sydney so much time to pick a pass and play out, and done really well to win possession back there. Just pinching in a little closer.
Some of the other Melbourne City players that were members of that grand final team no longer at the club include Jonathan Cohen, who scored the match winner. Marco Tilio has returned to Europe, and also Callum Talbot, who's joined MacArthur. So he'll get a chance to play against his former side as the season goes on. As we see, goes back, able to beat Kanamori to the ball. Standing start, Lawrence Thomas steers it out to the right. Ugarkovic not able to make a play at the ball as backtracking Rashani got there first. City starting to get impatient. The press is starting to hunt the ball more and more, creeping up the pitch. Forced a turnover here. Beach, not wasting any time, drives it long. Rising above Caputo, but the second ball is on for Quen. The Austrian turns and slows things back down to Bayich. Pass from Ferreira, draws an apology, but Brillante wasn't able to control it, so Truant gives City another chance. Atkinson. Pass, goes back. Kraev. Now Kraev runs straight into Nathaniel Atkinson, losing out. Subrayan. Ugarkovic leading the press. Committed a few numbers forward here. They can sense the chance to force a mistake. And again, preventative measures taken by Beach to clear long. Up goes Pandazopoulos. Truant, Quen. Rashani sprinting down the left, has to double back towards the ball. Ferreira. In goes Brillante, able to slide the ball away from Quen. It's another flashpoint here for Ugarkovic, holding off two opponents, doing very well. Simmons. Seeing the ebb and flow, it's almost like a battle of wills tactically, and then when the two teams commit, whether it be an aerial duel, a 50-50 ball, it's when the game really comes to life.
Well, lesson in patience, decision-making. Really good, strong individual work on the ball there shown by Steven Ugarkovic. apart this puzzle piece and you watch the movement of someone like Angus Thurgate just trying to find a little gap between that City press. If they can find that first pass out. Western Sydney have had a little bit more joy through the midfield, whereas City utilising the width more than the home side.
Atkinson. He's got Lecky on for the short pass. Doesn't want to use him though. Brian. Rashani. Running laterally across the pitch. Back to Atkinson it goes. Able to thread through Lecky. Oh, late contact. Charging out of the defence there from Gersbach. And he bowled over, remains down. Hassan Rashani hasn't really left the left flank of the pitch so far today. We saw him vertically across the field there, and it's his first real meeting with Gersbach, and it's a hard one.
Yeah, a really clunky challenge, just a heavy coming together of knees, and malice or otherwise, those ones hurt.
He's still down here. Leading lights of the off-season recruiting for Melbourne City. Hassan Rashani. The trainer is out to attend to him. Looks as though it's that left knee that he's favouring at the moment. During this injury break, though, let's go back to the Costa Barbarouses goal, Grace, that got the scoring started.
Well, he's really just undeniable. He finds little pockets of space just to drift into. A little deft touch over the top, saw the oncoming goalkeeper in Patrick Beach.
No doubt Wanderers fans will be hoping that Bruno Fornaroli's spot on the A-League era podium will be in trouble by the end of the campaign. Bruce is now only 8 behind the Uruguayan turned Socceroo. The good news for Melbourne City is that their 32-year-old debutant, Hassan Rashani, is back on his feet. Was a hard collision though, so we'll see how he runs it off. The Socceroos gaffer is in the house. Tony Popovic watching on. He's got no shortage of players who are Socceroos contenders out there on the pitch. Matthew Lecky, Nathaniel Atkinson, Kai Truen. All have a very active interest for him. Atkinson, another one of those players who, with a big season, could very well return to the discussion for a Socceroos berth.
6 windows in charge now, Tony Popovic, and he's cast the net wide. Plenty of players putting their hand up for selection.
Simmons, Morello. Here's Thurgate. Back to trying to help out the defence, maybe change the pace of the game a bit when Wanderers are in possession. Goes back. Pass finds its way to Kraev. Away goes the Bulgarian. Barbarouses leaves it with Bojidar Kraev. Still Kraev, and a deflection on the long shot. Comfortably fielded by Beach.
Support the runs are streaming through. I've been thinking moments earlier that Angus Thurgate was holding down the middle of this Western Sydney Wanderers midfield. Just in that last passage, he did make one of those forward runs into the 18-yard box. We saw him do that so much with Western United, to great success as well. Terrific engine.
Androsopoulos rising above Caputo. Gersbach. Kanamori, great overlapping run by Atkinson, hit the ball at speed, drifts in across, and up goes Rashani. Well, he's moving all right. An attempt wide of goal in the end with the header.
Good to see him back on his feet, and the delivery, the late arrival. Watch the run of Rashani, the number 11 for Melbourne City, just nips in front of his defender. almost caught on the blind side. Just can't quite redirect the header where it needs to go.
Now Atkinson again, trying to kickstart another attack, but Wanderers are sweeping onto the ball through Bonatig. Borello goes to Kraev, striding forward. And switches flanks. Ugarkovic from his right-sided position. Barbarousas with Ugarkovic in support. Handed away by Suprayan. Quen, Simmons. The battles continue. And now Leckie is driving forward for City. And overhit the pass away from Rashani. But Garby pointed out the new look for Steven Ugarkovic playing on the right side of midfield, a rarity for him, so often a tempo setter in the middle. We'll come back to that point because Melbourne City have won the ball. And it's going to result in a corner kick in the end. Last touch off Wanderers. But Ugarkovic, he was involved in the build-up at the other end a moment ago. He seems comfortable enough playing out wide.
I think between that midfield three and Ugarkovic, Thurgate, Brillante, they're all fairly comfortable holding down the middle of the field. Mentioned the runs of Thurgate, Ugarkovic doing the job for now from that box-to-box midfielder.
Set-piece opportunity here for Andy Quen. Players congregated at the far post for Melbourne City, and the corner is short. The return ball to Quen, edge of the box. And now Kanamori didn't quite strike the shot the way he might have hoped, and the offside flag goes up regardless.
Oh, nicely worked. Set piece. Ball falling really kindly to Kanamori, and despite the offside flag, I'm sure he would have liked to do more with that.
City press quite advanced here. Wanderers playing out from the last line of defence. Simmons sees Barbarousas, now Thurgate. Wanderers have dealt with it well. Can they now exploit in the other direction? Kraev showing strength, trying to hold off Kanamori. He wheels away, and now through comes Suprayan from the blind side, but the referee's bringing it back. And he points at Kanamori and produces the first yellow card of the game.
Super strength shown by Bojidar Kraev. Shook off one challenge, the next, and a third. And the last bit of contact, it was a foul. Referee Alex King looked to play advantage, which is the right call, but ultimately too much contact.
So the Japanese winger, first player in the book for either team in the game, played 33 minutes. Wanderers not able to do much with the free kick, and now it's City's turn to attempt to launch, but Barbarousas joining the defensive efforts, and he's fouled Rashani here, who's had a bit of physical attention in the game so far, but this one not troubling him anywhere near as much.
Rashani is getting a very warm welcome to the A-League. Just a tactical foul to slow things down there from Barbarousas.
See the foul count there is quite skewed so far. Players were almost reffing themselves there, waiting for the referee's whistle to go, and indeed it is a Wanderers free kick.
Well, this is the trap that the Wanderers are setting at the moment. Just inviting City in to pitch a little bit higher, and they can find that pass through Thurgate, through Kraev. Had a bit of success doing so. Then there's all this space in behind that City defensive line, and we've seen how dangerous Western Sydney have been on the counter, on transition.
Ferreira picks out Leckie. Can he build a head of steam? He decides to stop and go inside to Trewin instead. Kanamori touches it on. Leckie had to go. Maybe not on the same wavelength, but he does steer it back now to Atkinson. Truin. Kanamori. Atkinson switching flanks. Rashani his target. Rashani isolated against Simmons. Right against the line, and now has Bajic in support. Bajic, little nutmeg, tried to get the better of Agarkovic, and then Brillante with an important slide challenge. Stop Bajic advancing into the penalty area. City stay on the attack though. Rashani. Cross coming from Suprayan, the centre-back, moonlighting as a winger, and he's able to win his team a corner.
Brillante with some important tidy-up work. A couple of crucial blocks, closing down the space. Just does that hard grafting work in the base of the midfield.
City, last time they had a corner here, played it to the edge of the box. Bit of a mix-up. Instead, this time, again, players at the back post. And they get a conventional delivery here. It's a little bit shallow and headed behind, so Kanamori has taken over corner duties from Andy Quinn. Maybe hoping that his second corner of the day can bring his teammates into the mix. 31-year-old Japanese. Kanamori. Again, it's a near post, and again, it is Bonatic with an emphatic header away. So a couple of corners where we didn't get to learn a great deal. Maybe an open play. Fare a little bit better. Just concede a bit of ground with that pass. Players slowly meandering back to their regular positions now as the City centre-backs keep the ball among themselves, but for now don't have Kanamori still positioned over on the left side, which means Rashani's gone to the right. Here is Truin looking for Kanamori, all on his own. Now he engages Simmons. Kanamori, the little step over, or the ankle breaker. Can he lift it across? He can't. His agility was good, but the delivery wasn't quite there. Suprayan sweeps it all the way back to his keeper.
Nice footwork that by Kanamori. Almost sent Aiden Simmons into the RBB. Nice little bit of individual skill, and I'm sure we'll see more of that as he grows into the game.
A good pass from Beach, but luck's a fortune. It's coming back to him. Brillante claiming he was fouled by Truin. But it's a let-off for the Melbourne City goalkeeper. Brillante, game number 260 in the A-League today. 32 years old. Lecky had to go to ground to keep the ball. Thurgates stripped of it. Great tackle from Quinn. And now Andy Quinn pushes it on to Caputo, and the Melbourne City goal scorer, who hasn't featured prominently in any of the build-up play since, not able to run that down.
Yeah, Quinn just asking a bit much of Caputo on that occasion. Caputo running out of real estate as the weight of the pass just shifted over the line.
When Barbarousis and Kryev are on the ball, that's generally when Wanderers get something going, but only a short spell for them there, and they've turned backwards in the meantime. Just over 5 minutes of regulation until half-time. A very quick exchange of goals, less than 2 minutes separating them. But neither side can really claim to have been on top in general play since. Goes back. For Kryev. Turns it back inside for Borello. Borello. Out to Lecky. He does win a foul right at the end of it. Socceroo in Borello against a wannabe returnee to the Socceroos in Lecky. You see the duel there. The little grab, the final piece that led Alex King to reach for his whistle. Here goes Barbarousis down the left sideline. Ferreira was right there with him step for step. Atkinson cooling things down for City. Ferreira says, let's just clear the vicinity. He drives that one into touch. Second season at the club for German Ferreira, 29 years old. Key member of the championship last season. Here's Gersbach. Sure, the Wanderer thought that pass was intended for them. He split the middle between Kryev and Barbarouses. Centre-backs and keeper enjoying a little passing triangle for now. Wanderers, again, need to wait for City to engage a little bit further up the pitch. With this, the keeper in defensive midfield now. The game compressed. Truman presents for the ball. Suprayen. Now Borello says, enough of this, let's go chasing. Barbarouses joins in, and they have pressed very effectively. Here's Borello! Good save! Beach able to turn it behind for a corner kick. And Brandon Borello, the man who led the press, very nearly rewarded.
Well, how quickly the Tides can turn there. Another chance, and it's the pass that comes through after this wayward one here. This first time ball through has to be weighted to perfection, and it is. Borello took a moment on the turf longer, reflecting on a moment that he knew he needed to do better with. Good chance for the Wanderers.
So their first corner of the game comes in the 43rd minute, right at the end of the first half. Alex King having a word with Aziz Bajic, but it's only a brief one. And Brandon Borello marking each other more than tightly. Here comes the corner, an in-swinger, and battered away by Beach. Ugarkovic, first time strike. It's going to bend out towards the line, and it's going to be kept in by Gersbach. Play continues. And then to the edge of the box again, Ugarkovic! Oh, that one was more menacing, and it caught a big deflection to go behind for another corner.
Take two was far better from Steven Ugarkovic. A little wry smile as well. The first one he didn't pick up cleanly, but I don't blame him from trying from that kind of distance. The second one, some serious venom. Ricocheted off the leg of Ferreira.
So they have to wait 43 minutes for a corner, but now a couple in quick succession. You can see the last thing City want is to go into the rooms at half-time behind. Very physical as players jostle for position in the box. Gersbach whips it in. Well defended by Ferreira, who then has a little word to Paterzopoulos when he was on the ground. No love lost. Ball might be coming back in though. Kryev deflected down by Leckie. Thurgate through the chaos he steps. And the shot is saved away. Beach very good. Kryev blazes it over. Gersbach initially, and then Božidar Kryev on the follow-up.
An absolute peppering of the goal. Beach getting battered. Good use of the body here by Thurgate just to hold things up in the first time strike through traffic. It's a strong paw, a palm away from Beach to see that out of danger. Great pressure mounting from the Western Sydney Wanderers.
They've saved their best for the end of the first half. They'll be hoping for a nice healthy number. Now, when the board goes up, they don't want the first half to end. Rashani, Quinn. Page taking preventative measures. 3 additional minutes to end the first half, so Wanderers might like the look of that. They're finally starting to get on top in general play after the first half that has largely been an arm wrestle. Gersbach's been key. Early ball here. Kryev brings it down. Can he get the better of Atkinson? He turns on the afterburners, but Atkinson sticks with him. Kryev trying to force a way through. Wanderers fans think there was a foul, and their cries are going to be answered. Free kick in a dangerous position.
Atkinson did really well on the first time of asking, of just matching Kraev step for step. But cleverly done by Kraev, persistence. The contact takes him to ground. A good chance. Momentum behind the home side.
So late wide set piece into the first half. Thurgate or Gersbach to swing it in. Thurgate's the right-footed option. Thurgate to the near post. Panasopoulos, instead of a glancing touch, caught that full-blooded. Did score 2 goals last season, Panasopoulos, so you can see there he's frustrated. He thinks it's a better chance than maybe it was.
There's a good aerial threat. He's always confident to get up for corners, set pieces. We've seen a couple of defensive acts as well. Panasopoulos rising high above the rest.
Thurgate. Nudge from Borello, but sitting through Quinn, and now Bayage. The one's heading forward. Panasopoulos at the defensive end. He reaches for his neck after that header. Maybe just didn't catch it quite right. Something sore. Gives it a rub and continues to take up defensive position. And he might be called upon again right here. Rashani wins the header against Simmons, but to no great effect. So ticking into the final 30 seconds of the first half. Any thoughts on which team or which manager might be the happier at the break in this level game?
Well, coming into the break, I think the home side can feel propelled by the last 15 or so minutes, which momentum has well and truly been in their backing. City probably happy to see the halftime break, just to slow things down, to take stock.
They might be out of time here to take this throw in. Indeed they are. So a 2-minute burst where goals were exchanged. Costa Barbarouses scoring on Western Sydney Wanderers' debut. Answered in short order by Max Caputo, the striker, just 20 years of age, getting his Isuzu UTE A-League campaign off to a perfect start. Wanderers arguably shading it since. The game is delicately poised at half-time. Western Sydney Wanderers 1, Melbourne City 1. Stay with us for the halftime show coming up on the other side of this short break.
Taz, you got me? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, there I am.
With the Isuzu UTE SUV, everyday life doesn't have to be every day at all. Of designing quality products with unrivaled reliability. pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And testing our technology to perform in the harshest conditions. So you can see these. As the most independently awarded brand of air conditioning in Australia, put your trust in Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, the experts in air.
Overlap and Wanderers obviously had a great relationship for many years. Overlap on the front of our shirts and the main sponsor for the women's team. There's a lot of product that really help with high performance. The recall strength is helping your body recover from the gym, and then in combination with CR7, ensuring that your electrolytes are up, and then with the lift off, it's getting focused for the game.
What's better, fan mode or bet mode? Let's see the difference. Now that's being a fan mode. And here's bet mode. Let's run another one. Fan mode or bet mode? It's your call.
Don't let a bet take you away from the match.
How well do you know your stats? Leads and muscles, the shots on goal.
Did you know a car traveling at 60 km per hour
It's 56 meters to slow.
Although most speeding deaths occur at no more than 10 km per speed.
Yes, the stats matter. Slow down on our roads.
to protect yourself?
Your family and our lessons community. Because every K counts.
Because every K counts.
Because every K counts. As a player, Melbourne games for the ultra, on the community or back to people through the game is probably more special than living on the weekend. If it's for you and you can really help other people, it's a no-brainer. All the kids are the community and training and going to learn more over the other kids.
Get ready to cheer, just like the League supports the athletes. They're on your team too. Whether you're planning a holiday or buying a new home, they can provide the assist that you need to kick off your free thinking goals. Liberty, loans for free thinkers. Kick off your investment journey with eToro. Invest in stocks, ETFs, and crypto all in one app and start chasing your investment goals today. Join over 40 million users worldwide. eToro, proud sponsor of the A-League. AFSL 49139. Capital Risk. CPTS of TNT.
Liberty Islands hit different. They're repetitively intense, but go-getters. The creative.
Listen, this one living up to the billing. Delicately poised at the break between Western Sydney and Melbourne City. It is one apiece after a cracking first half. Let's take a look at the Paramount Plus player index then, and it is Brandon Borello leading the way in a big way. That wonderful assist for the Costa Barbaroussa's opener. Tony Popovic watching on. He'll be pleased with that. Going to scout Brandon Borello from World Cup calculations. He's been in a Popovic squad before. And then there's Melbourne City players, Patrick Beach and Max Caputo on the list. And then Barbaroussa's at the bottom. So he scored in his first half as a Western Sydney player. It was an excellent through ball, as we say, from Borello. And then a true poacher's finish for Costa Barbaroussas, who has also got his sights set on a World Cup at the end of this season. He's been really busy trying to drive his team on, trying to stretch this Melbourne City defence. It's huge motivation for him come the end of this campaign. In 2010 he had his heart broken, wasn't selected in that New Zealand squad. Maybe he can make amends next year in North America. The second half from Combank Stadium between Western Sydney and Melbourne City is just a minute away.
So, set to go at the start of the second half at CommBank Stadium. Round 1 of the Isuzu UTE A-League Men's. And Western Sydney Wanderers take kickoff in this level 1-all game, taking the lead through Costa Barbarouses, only for Max Caputo to score the equaliser less than 2 minutes later. And as Patrick Beach gets an early touch at the beginning of the second half, Grace Gill, we've had half-time to reflect on a game that had ebb and flow, and when it was in full flow, the game really delivered some great flashpoints and very entertaining moments.
Well, it started off with great energy, really good intensity. Great pressure coming from Western Sydney up front. Costa Barbarouses, Brandon Borrello hurrying, scurrying in that final third. And it led to a couple of really good moments, really entertaining football.
Matthew Leckie grew into the first half as it went on. Just like the first half, Melbourne City happy to trust in their trio at the back, the two central defenders, Suprayan and Ferreira, and the goalkeeper, Patrick Beach, never far away. They play with a bit more urgency and to up the tempo. It was a very patient first half at times. It could be a case of who's going to bite first, and that's exactly what Brandon Borrello did there, leading the press, forcing the long clearance, and now it's at the feet of Aiden Simmons. Truant. Right up the middle, Caputo. Leckie. And here's Kanamori in at the near post. And Kanamori will get a second chance. First time shot. Oh, rising over the bar. Kai Truant scored a double against Wanderers last season. He's got an appetite for scoring against them. That one was close.
Well worked by Kanamori. Just picks out a neat pass, and Kai Truant, who has largely been pulling the strings at the base of midfield for City, finds himself a little further advanced. He's definitely got that in his locker. I think he had a really sound first half. I'm not too far off.
Bayage with the volley. Collision between Quen and Panazopoulos. Quen slipped through Caputo, now Leckie in the pocket. Kanamori. Leckie continued his run to the right. We cooked it in the end, the City duo. Allows Gersbach to swoop the leg and clear the ball away. Gersbach, speaking of outside Socceroos candidates, he's still only 28, something of a forgotten Socceroo when he landed back at the Western Sydney Wanderers midway through last season. He's still in the prime years of his career. I don't know what a career best season could do for his prospects. Really closed the book on a left-sided player, that's for sure.
Gersbach, the elder statesman in this Western Sydney defensive line. The rest of Stagic's defence. Panazopoulos 22, Simmons 21, Bonatic 23. Conversely, the experience and age that sits in amongst that City defence.
It's the commentator's curse in full view, given away by Gersbach. Truant starts a counter here for City. Quen. Now Rashani trying to find Caputo in the middle. Truant. City have started the brighter through 4 minutes of the second half. And here is Elbasan Rashani. Slides a pass to Andy Quen. The Austrian and the Kosovar working together. Check on Bayage. King saw it all unfold, doesn't reach for the whistle. Brillante starts a counter. There's a bit of retribution behind play. I'm starting to simmer just a little bit there. This time it was Garkovic who was knocked over for the Wanderers, but another infringement caused the referee to reach for his whistle.
Garkovic less sprawly. Borrello left appeal in to referee Alex King. Nothing given. This is the one that Morello shouting for. Ferreira just impeding the run. That was the first shout. The second tackle brings him to ground.
Still rumble around the stadium from the RBB. Wanderers can grow into the half here. They've just ceded the momentum that they were building into the break to Melbourne City out of the sheds again. Lugarkovic. Andy Quinn, but he's been outpointed. Possession taken by Quinn and winning a throw in for his side. And, well, Michael Thwaite's got company. Bit of running repairs there for Andy Quinn. Hopefully everything's okay. Long-time fans of the A-League will remember Michael Thwaite at Gold Coast United self-dacking in a similar fashion. Territorial ascendancy at least. Truman, Atkinson. Once again, it's a battle of wills between the Wanderers forwards and the City defence. Who's going to commit? Truman. City who go. Bayage muscled off the ball by Lugarkovic, who lost his feet, bounces back up, and there is a free kick there to be given.
The first pass from City to break that Wanderers defensive block was good. The ball right through the middle, looked all too easy. Great defensive effort shown by Stephen Lugarkovic to get back in, to win possession back.
Barbarousis takes over possession. As he goes to ground, through comes Atkinson cleanly in front of the RBB. It was a hopeful ask rather than an expected shout. Left behind, just when Rashani thought he was away. The whistle goes and Panasopoulos receives the free kick. It's been taken quickly. Wanderers on the move. Borello, ball stuck between his feet. Lecky. Right on his hammer. Atkinson now breathing space for Truman. Quinn, a little nick on. Bayage in full stride. Rashani. Bayage's underlapping run. Cleverly past Brillante and well defended by Simmons. He got back and just as Bayage was starting to have a shooting action, Simmons was there.
Well, Bayage is well and truly committed to that forward run. Simmons doing the recovery work to slow him down. Made great ground, just that little clip of the foot.
Fascinating selection today, Aidan Simmons. He only made 4 appearances for the Wanderers last season, most recent of which was on the 26th of January, so he was really not part of their rise to the finals in the final third of the season last campaign. Here he is starting on day 1 of the new season, so must have had a really strong pre-season to force Alan Stagic's hand. Barbarous's pass can't find a gap. City looking to counter it at speed. Here's Quinn and Kanamori, first time shot, blocked away, good save by Lawrence Thomas. And that was nearly a goal on debut for Takeshi Kanamori. Lecky. To keep City on the attack. Here's Kanamori, foiled just a moment ago Finds Atkinson, and Thurgate won't let him pass, but does concede a corner.
Well defended. But this chance, really good for City. This save even better from Lawrence Thomas. Comes off his line, closes the angle down well, the arms outstretched, and that's a strong right hand. Almost looked like a sure thing. The ball through to Kanamori was exactly where it needed to be, as was Lawrence Thomas.
Though he's a winger, he definitely wasn't a prolific scorer for his 230 J-League career. It's the corner then from Bayich. To the back post, Thomas was stuck in a pack of players. Ultimately, it's Rashani who just sail out for a goal kick.
Deep delivery, up and over. Just enough pressure from Kraev has Rashani off balance.
Been that sinking feeling for Lawrence Thomas as he tried to backtrack, only to be bumped by a pack of players that stopped him making ground to the ball. Here's Thurgate at the base of midfield, trying to get something started. Brillante. Garkovic in space. Simmons. Veering in, Aiden Simmons. That's a textbook tackle coming in from Rashani. And now Bayich back the other way. Thurgate with a hand over the shoulder. And that is going to just the second booking of the game. And as Thurgate picks up the first yellow card of the match for the Wanderers, he joins Takeshi Kanamori in the book.
Well, takes one for the team. This is a good challenge, really well timed from Rashani, and had to get that to perfection. Here, Bayich is off. Thurgate knows exactly what he's doing. He knows he's going to produce a yellow card off the back of that challenge. And Bayich was fuming.
What do you think's drawn his eye out there, Grace? Just the physical nature of the foul?
I think for Bayich, he's the ultimate competitor, looking to get forward on a break. Slowed down only by the arm of Thurgate reaching across his shoulder.
It's those end-to-end moments where the game has really come to life. This occasion it ends in a yellow card rather than a shot on goal. And Zopoulos, Simmons, starting to spread his wings in this game in an attacking sense. A bit brave of venturing forward, and he's drawn a foul here. Look at the RBV. Trying to use their voice as we approach the hour mark to try and lift the home side. Thomas finds Simmons. Morello. Garkovic. Now Bonatic. Simmons down the right line. Borello inside. Thurgates. He's compelled by the momentum of the pass to keep the switch going. Goes back. He's advancing. Barbarouses makes a near post run. Goes back with a drifter. And ultimately, it proved to be a confident claim from Beach.
Delivery from Gersbach just came a bit late. Had the run-in support of Barbarouses into space and ultimately ran out of it. Held onto the pass just a moment too long, maybe not the right choice on that occasion.
As we tick up towards the hour mark, we'll start to see activity on the substitutes bench. I was mentioning earlier in the half, a very young Wanderers defence. Melbourne City, by contrast, a very young bench. There's a couple of options, Gabriel Kleur and like Alu Quol being readied for the Western Sydney Wanderers. One defender, one attacker. As we tick over 60 minutes, half an hour plus stoppage to go. The game has been levelled since the early exchanges. Truitt. It's an awkward looking pass, but very effective because it's won a corner from a standing start there. Quinn able to buy a set piece out of Angus Thurgate. So targets like German Ferreira. So Max Caputo lurk in the box. Samuel Suprayan has stayed back, interestingly, despite his height. Tamori's corner and a completely uncontested header. Zopoulos clearing the lines. Truitt will recover the ball for Melbourne City, though. Here is Suprayan. City dominating possession in the second half. Long hopeful ball. Lawrence Thomas fields it easily. Discipline for German Ferreira.
To see motioning of referee Alex King, the new rule this season, 8 seconds the goalkeeper has to get rid of the ball. They'll get a hand in the air at 5 seconds and a shout at 3 seconds. If the ball is still in the hands at that point, it's a corner to the opposite team.
It's going to want to be the first goalkeeper to have that paid against them, even less so if the corner leads to a goal. So we're 2.5 games in. Best of my knowledge, we're yet to have seen it paid. Barbarousis initiates the press. Borello joining him here. Beach identifies the danger, decides to go long. Goes back, flying against Leckie. Now Kraev. Truitt cleaning everything up. Those quick movers for Wanderers like Barbarousis and Kraev. They've just been starved of the ball so far in this second half. Here's Kanamori for City. Waits for the run of Bayich, hard against the line. Simmons does not let Bayich nutmeg him. In the end, in that little duel, it's Simmons who prevails by winning a throw-in. And that is going to prompt the double substitution, which Wanderers had been foreshadowing. And it is going to be number up for Stephen Ugarkovic. His second Wanderers debut comes to an end, as does the day of Aidan Simmons. So you'd have to say that the net sum of these subs is a bit more attacking intent from the Wanderers, because they've taken off a defender and a midfielder for a defender and a striker. On comes Alu Quol, and on comes Gabriel Clerc.
Watch this little adjustment. So Quol alongside Borello up top, it looks to be, and Clerc just slotted in where Simmons was. First coach to turn to the bench, first coach to inject some energy, fresh legs.
Of course, Quoll made his Central Coast Mariners debut in the 2019-20 season under Alan Stajic. And a rapid rise, moved overseas to Stuttgart, was then sold back to the Mariners. He's joined Wanderers this season after things didn't work out in his second stint on the Central Coast. So hoping that linking up with a former gaffer will do wonders for him here. He's prodded out. There is Quoll. The brother, of course, of Garang Quoll, who's still plying his trade overseas. He's 24 years old now. Older brother, Alu.
Things may not have worked so well for Alu Quoll at the Central Coast, but he was the side's leading goal scorer with 4 finishes across the course of the season. And I think fair to say he's got to have a good season this year with Western Sydney. If Alan Stajic can unlock what we know to be quality from Alu Quoll.
Stajic just found his way to the edge of the technical area. You can see a bit of expectation now that he's acted first with subs. Here's Borrello, and even though Beach was well out of his line, and that thought would have been lurking in the back of Brandon Borrello's head for much of the game, he couldn't dip the long shot.
Great awareness, a poor touch in the middle of the park, and Borrello pounces. Didn't get the execution right, but the vision is there, and it needs to be a striker, has to be aware. And now they're pressing high. Watch the shape of Quoll, Borrello on the edge of the 18-yard box, ready to spring. So this is perhaps an instruction that's come from those substitutions we just saw.
So Melbourne City trying to beat the press. Turn backwards, free kick given. Gives us a chance to throw down to Daniel Garb. Garby, your observations on the first 20 minutes of the second half?
Well, watching on from the sidelines, you can tell this is a game of really high standard. You can tell there's going to be 2 teams that are very likely to figure in things come the pointy end of the season. The structure, the pace of the game, the physicality, and the way in which both sides are setting up. Yeah, it's a bit cagey at the moment because the presses are really well constructed. But you can tell that this, for the opening weekend of the season, are 2 teams who are right at it with experienced, strong squads, and are going to be very tough to beat throughout the campaign.
Thanks, Garby. And of course, Melbourne City, arguably with a slight advantage of having had a couple of Champions League elite games, but also had the demoralising factor of having lost both of them. So certainly it's minutes in the legs, but it's like it was positive momentum to bring into round 1. Haven't played a competitive game since August the 12th when they were knocked out of the Australia Cup in unceremonious fashion by Heidelberg United. So today is their first competitive game in the best part of 9 weeks.
City to re-chockers schedule in terms of turnaround off the back of this one. Tuesday night again against Birmingham United. Mark Jackson already on the turf.
The A-League connections continue. So on Thursday, it'll be MacArthur against Stefan Borg's Kongan Hanoi. Here's a ball into the box and headed away by Gersbach. Through comes Quoll, helping out the defence, but the Wanderers aren't out of jail just yet. Gersbach's header falls centrally. Atkinson lays it off. Truan! Well, he's had 2 long shots, one over the bar and that one a worm burner straight into the gloves of Thomas. Quick release, and Brandon Borrello lost the show of strength against Ferreira.
It's a clean set of hands by Lawrence Thomas. Held on to that one well. It's a midfielder for Truan when the ball drops right on the edge of the 18-yard box. Eyes light up.
That is sliced away by Bonatig, so Atkinson's cross finds another corner kick. They've started to tick over the set-piece opportunities for Melbourne City. Particularly fun 20 minutes. Looks like they are going to action this double substitution, in fact a triple substitution before the corner is taken. So Matthew Leckie, Andy Cohen, the third man making way will be Albasan Rashani. So his debut for Melbourne City ends at the 70-minute mark. 3 players coming on. Zane Schreiber, who was a cameo sub at the end of the grand final last season. Ermin Jurakovic, only 20 years of age. And Kavian Ramani, who is only 18. So a young brigade coming on here for Melbourne City. And their first order of business will be to attack this corner. Here's Bayage, takes it short. Kanamori. Bayage looping and looping out.
It's always nervy moments when you've just been substituted on and first order is to defend a corner. But young players who are looking at the bench for Melbourne City a little earlier, very young substitutions this afternoon. Unsurprisingly so, the depth in the City squad is there.
Clare wiped out, and first activity off the bench for Kavian Ramani is going to be to get a yellow card. So the team attacker Gabriel Clare here and becomes the third player to be booked today.
Just a little clumsy, hooking the leg over the top and opposition player to ground. It's not a bad spot for a free kick as well. It gives the opportunity for Western Sydney to get numbers forward. City not leaving anyone to attack more numbers behind the ball.
Goes back, takes the free kick. Marnie, who gave the free kick away, wins the defensive header. Goes back, gets a second chance. Off his feet. Clare, first time ball, dragged it, and comfortably half volleyed away by Truan. Vidmar organising his team after the set piece. Wanderers trying to strike in broken play, but that's clumsy from Quoll. Ferreira is holding his side after Quoll knocked him to the ground.
Ferreira's a tough player, and he looks a little worse for wear after the challenge. That's late from Quoll. I think moments after Samuel Subrayan was imploring Quoll to perhaps go over and apologise. She's doing so now. A heavy knock to the ribs, whether it's taking the air out of him or just a really uncomfortable one rather through his side.
Trent hasn't come off the bench, so it's the good news for Ferreira, but combination of being impacted in the back and side. Samuel Subrayan leading the protestations for the way Quoll went in, but is all right to continue for Melbourne City. All those fans go home happy. Fair to say that right now City have been the better side in the second half, perhaps the more likely to score. If we are to break this 1-1 tie, Kraev, he goes in hard on Schreiber. It's Schreiber's turn to take some deep breaths.
Blindsided there. I don't think he knew much about the oncoming player in Schreiber. Nonetheless, that too reckless and maybe a bit of fatigue wearing in near into the final 15 minutes of play.
Almost 75% possession for Melbourne City in the last 10 minutes, so just continues to skew further and further in their favour. Stajic and fourth official Nathan Shakespeare in a war of words. Stajic sensed about where the free kick's being taken from, and it's going to be a moot point because it looks like the flag went up. Eavesdropping on Stajic there. You fight and you argue over every cause in a game, don't you?
Well, he had well and truly escaped his technical area. Shakespeare had to escort him back toward it. Stajic saying that the free kick was taken well inside where the actual foul was committed.
this to ground. No, I thought he was away. Free kick given.
Thurgate. It's Thurgate from the right sideline. Pass to no one in particular. Swept upon by Atkinson. Romani, nice touch, takes it inside. Caputo, not able to lunge out for the ball. Gersbach's clearance, a shallow one. Bayage. Truen. Atkinson hangs the cross high. Romani up for the header, and Klur outpointed him. Gabriel Klur trying to set Costa Barbarouses away. Barbarouses takes possession. Thurgate, Kraev. Kraev saw options on the right. Good run from Klur. Oh, and he slices it out. Whether it was intended to be a cross or maybe a cross shot, it doesn't matter because it was wayward in the end.
Little slip just as he went to put the cross in, lacking quality, disappointing the delivery, but a quick hand of apology. Klur knows as much.
Feels like the game is poised to launch into a big final 10 minutes here. All the patience, we might finally start to see a bit less risk aversion from one or both of these two teams to try and win in the opening round. Romani, Schreiber. Here's Atkinson. Kanamori. And now Schreiber's cross, dealt with by Bonatig. Qual pressing, spills the ball. The benefits of Patrick Beach living so far off his line is that he was only 3 or 4 short steps away from being able to sweep onto a loose ball there.
The sting has certainly been taken out of this game. What we saw in the first 45 minutes. The energy, the intensity, and understandably, first game of the season, you can't maintain that for the full 90 minutes. But speaking of intensity, Borello still full of running.
See the commitment there of Pandazopoulos to jump the pass, but he just didn't keep possession. Gersbach does similar. This time he can't find a teammate with the pass. So the sense of the Wanderers is starting to commit to chasing this game, not satisfied with a draw at home. They have never beaten Melbourne City at Combank Stadium. The last time they beat Melbourne City in a home match was at the Olympic Stadium. A double from Oriel Riera and Mitchell Duke were the scorers back in March 2019. They've been waiting that long for a win at home. Wall again defending from the front, winning the ball. He's come on and done a job. He's been able to press effectively. Given away a hard foul earlier in the half, but he was able to win possession and a free kick here.
Spraying. Just a little clip around the ankle, and this one's hurt. Ball goes to ground.
We're going to see Isuzu UTE A-League debut for Beckham Baker. The delightfully named Melbourne City youngster. He's coming on for fellow debutant Takeshi Kanamori. He goes to the bench. And for 17-year-old Beckham Baker, who joined Melbourne City's academy as a 10-year-old in 2019, on he comes for his debut. We're going to see Aidan Hammond for the first time this season as well. 21-year-old scored 5 times last season. He
he's relieving Costa Barbarouses, who leaves with Wanderers' goal today to his name. So one change each for both sides.
Well, Barbarouses welcomes himself to Western Sydney with a goal, and a little quieter into the second half, but I'd say that generally Western Sydney's attack was somewhat stifled compared to the first 45.
Baker straight into the action off the bench. The overlapping run is a promising one. Jurakovic asking questions of the Western Sydney defence. Started the game, Jurakovic, so every minute he gets will be an opportunity to press his case. Subrayan, back pass. Beach comfortable on the ball. Into the final 9 minutes now of regulation. City, so often the exuberance of youth got them results last season. Turned draws into wins to keep them at the pointy end of the ladder. Is the crop of youngsters for this season going to do it for them again away from home? The ball here goes back, waited for it to bounce. Baker swept onto the ball, and now a first-time shot is skied away by Caputo. He's been starved of looks at goal ever since scoring in the first half. But what about the energy of the debutant?
Well, exactly what you want your subs to do. Backing themselves, taking a chance, and Caputo lashes a shot. It's been largely kept quiet by Petazopoulos out the back, with the exception of that first half goal.
Runners breaking through the left. Romani. Fleur kept his feet. Youngsters that played a huge amount of game time last season, 7 starts, 22 total appearances. So a teenager that Leo Vidmar really came to trust over the course of the season. Mehdi both debuted in a knocking away win at Perth Glory at the beginning of last campaign. City remain on the attack here. Romani. Bajic. Subrayan. Qual chasing. It was nearly a slow enough moving pass. You can see the effort and the energy that Alu Qual is bringing to the press, and is enough of a nuisance to get himself into the referee's book here, because the second time in this half he has fouled Melbourne City defender. Already wiped out Ferreira, now he's caught Subrayan.
Subrayan wasn't happy with the initial foul Qual put on Ferreira. Subrayan returned one in kind on Qual a few moments ago, and a bit of conversation between the two as Qual then returns one in kind.
Well, Alu Qual's very quick-witted, so I reckon he made Subrayan laugh there. Subrayan wanted to be angry, and then Qual must have had a pretty good comeback. Anyway, he's still chasing a loose ball. He's going to chase everything that Wanderers send forward here. Rather than chase, can they construct? Just how adventurous are they going to be? Melbourne City might feel like they're closing in on a match winner here. Beckham Baker. And Schreiber, did he get his ankles tapped? Yes, he did. Late whistle, and the free kick is given. Thurgate protests, but it did look to the naked eye like a foul.
Well, he went down at this point here. Until he heard the whistle, was pretty frustrated. Got up quickly, he's returned to his feet. Seems to be okay, which is good to see. Zane Schreiber back to his feet. And where momentum was well and truly in Western Sydney's favour towards the end of the first half, it's not the case in this second half. City dominant in possession, more passes, more opportunities in the final third. Haven't really been able to create anything clear-cut in this second half.
Like so many set pieces in this game, it is just a massive crowd to aim for. Bajic went for the sneak attack in the near post and held on to by Lawrence Thomas. It's a shot on target. Very comfortable to one for the keeper. The distribution here goes straight to Baker of Melbourne City. Bajic. Truan stops his burst through the middle and turns back to Schreiber. Paramount Plus player index suggests that it is now German Ferreira who is player of the match. Look how close it is, though. We will revisit the Paramount Plus player index as part of the post-game show. So, an even individual leaderboard, much like it's been an even game. Zopoulos wins the header. Brillante, Kraev. Through comes Ferreira. Brillante responds. Suprayan.
On the way, Western Sydney had a lot of chances in that first half, playing a quick transition game. City have done really well to close that down, negate it a few moments ago. As Thomas looked to play quickly, Max Caputo just lingered long enough to put him off.
Now Bajic. He's going to take responsibility of playing the pass into the penalty area. City turn and go back to the halfway line. Beach with a lofted ball. Romani. Straight to Brillante. Hammond. Borello pleading for a free kick, not forthcoming. Schreiber. Beckham Baker, first time ball, and Bonatic puts it behind for a corner.
Well, nice quality on that ball, that cross. Good weight behind the pass on the ground, had defenders facing toward their own goal. That's a quality we know of Beckham Baker can produce.
Skew in the corners now, 8-2. That's the situation in a packed penalty area. Can, as is Bajic, find a teammate with the cross? Finds Panazopoulos. Second chance for Bajic. Atkinson. Slided through for Baker, but intercepted by Gersbach. Now Ferreira. Truan. Suprayan. Kraev able to win possession of Atkinson. Is this Wanderers' moment? Hammond takes it wide. Turns and faces the penalty area. City have scrambled numbers back. Is the moment passed for the Wanderers? Brillante. Perhaps it is. They go back to the halfway line. Panazopoulos into the last minute of the 90. Thurgates. Klur. Gabriel Klur looking for Thurgate. He got stuck in a 1-on-2. Ball extracted, swinging in. Qual up. And it bounces. And, well, good grab by the goalkeeper, Beach. Gabriel Klur making a late run. Couldn't get there before the goalkeeper's outstretched hands.
For moments, and this ball just up into the mixer. I thought at first it was a little close to Patrick Beach, but great aerial leap shown by Alu Qual.
We've got 3 subs coming. Down to Daniel Garb, who's going to talk us through a very important one here for the Wanderers.
Yeah, and that's Dylan Scalunia, who's been waiting patiently to come on, and more to the point, has been waiting for almost a year for this moment. He had a great start to last season. He then did his ACL. It's been a long road back through rehab for Dylan Scalunia, but he said, this is the moment I wanted to be back for. Round 1 of the season, that was my goal, and he's reached it in stoppage time on the opening weekend.
Thank you, Garby. And also coming on is an A-League debutant, 18-year-old Awan Lawal. 7 goals in 24 appearances over winter for Wanderers NPL team. He gets his chance here in the seniors. And here's Hammond on the attack. Can he fire a shot? Too many City defenders in his road. Kraev. Here is Cicluna, back in the A-League after a long injury absence. You did see a substitution for Melbourne City go through as well. It is another A-League debutant, Harry Shillington. We've seen him for a couple of appearances in the Champions League Elite. Now the 21-year-old comes on in an Isuzu UTE A-League game. He's got the number 36 on his back for the City Blue, and he's standing at right back at present, like-for-like swap with Atkinson. Wanderers showing a bit more intent now that we've ticked into 4 minutes of additional time. Are we going to get a big finish in this opening round contest? See there the debutant Lual wearing the number 39. He's got the big hand bandage on as well. He is now joining Qual up in the forward line for Wanderers. At the moment it could be for either of them. Score and win this game, but that pass is going to be unretrievable. Grace, have either team done enough to deserve winning this game?
The second half has really flattened out. I mentioned the intensity in the first 45 minutes. There hasn't been really any clear-cut chances into this second half, despite both sides close to emptying the benches with substitutes. It's little flashpoints, but the 1-1 draw feels fairly reasonable at this point.
Baker. Romani. Schreiber. Zane Schreiber goes for it, but it's right between the eyes for Lawrence Thomas.
Looked to play quickly. This is the strike, just didn't quite have the width it needed.
The speed of Qual, he's been able to win the ball ahead of Ferreira, swings it in, deflected away with the clearance from debutant Shillington. Last minute of the allocated 4 given away. Is this City's chance? Panasopoulos makes amends for the pass with an excellent slide tackle. Could that launch the Wanderers forward? Cicluna. He's got Hammond. Crowd finds its voice. Still Hammond. Now Claw. And blocked away. Good defending by Aziz Bayage. Perhaps anticlimactic for the home fans, but Aziz Bayage did not let that cross past. City have only got 20 seconds left, maybe for one more attacking foray of their own. They have to start from the centre of defence. Time the enemy here. Page seems in no hurry at all. Well, City happy with a point. They're almost daring Alex King to blow his whistle here. And indeed he does. So a share of the points on the first Saturday afternoon of the Isuzu UTE A-League season. Costa Barbarouses scored on debut, but 1 minute and 57 seconds later, Max Caputo cancelled that goal out with an equaliser for Melbourne City. Plenty of heavy breathing and deep breaths at the end of that one. Ultimately, neither side willing to take the risks, perhaps, to go and win the game. Wanderers wait to beat Melbourne City at home. Extends to a 7th head-to-head meeting. They're still waiting for their first win against the City Blues since March 2019. But they put a point in the bank, and these two teams have now got a foothold in the 2025-26 season, because it's ended level at CommBank Stadium. Western Sydney Wanderers 1, Melbourne City 1. So let's go down to the aftermath and get some instant reaction. Take it away, Daniel Garth.
Thank you very much. And with the player of the match in Anthony Pantazopoulos. Panta, it was tense near the end. There weren't too many chances in that second half. Does it feel like a draw's a fair result?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a very